So Jake Paul just collapsed after a brutal knockout by Mike Tyson, and it has shocked the fight world. Now, this wasn't your typical knockout like knockouts are expected when Iron Mike Tyson is involved, right? But the way Mike made the YouTuber turn boxer kiss the canvas in seconds, it was shocking. Two heavyweight titans met in the ring for a random sparring set ahead of their fight on November 15th, 2024. But Tyson wasn't playing around for a second. Jake didn't just get knocked down, he got folded. The crazy part, knockouts in sparring usually don't make headlines like this, but this one's got the entire fight world buzzing. From boxing's pros to pundits, everyone's asking the same thing: is Jake okay? Well, looks like this KO has given the problem child a broken rib because of the way he fell.
No way I would want to do that.
Tyson's punch is like a sledgehammer, and Jake might have just learned that the hard way. Sure, knockouts don't usually end careers, but this one, it's questioning Jake's entire plan. All right, fight fans, let's get into what actually went down in that sparring session this last weekend.
Good work.
Jake being Jake came in with his usual swagger, acting like he had this in the bag. He was walking around the ring with all the confidence in the world, trash talking like he always does, and get this, even had the nerve to call Tyson a sick chicken. Yeah, that's right, he tried to clown one of the most dangerous men in boxing history. Jake had full faith that he was going to take the legend down, probably thinking this was just another stepping stone like all those retired MMA guys or washed-up NBA players he's faced before, but oh man, reality hit hard. Fast forward to just a few seconds into the first round of sparring. Jake's bobbing, weaving, and trying to feel Tyson out, thinking he's in control, but Tyson, he's not playing those games. And then it happened, bang, one perfectly timed punch from Mike and Jake was sent crashing to the canvas. That was it. Game over. Jake got the hardest reality check of his life in a split second. It's one thing to train to get hyped and think you're ready, but it's another thing entirely when you're standing across the ring from Mike freaking Tyson. Jake's ego got crushed just as hard as his body, and the fight world was left speechless. Now, let's be real, it's Jake's own fault for underestimating his opponent. I mean, come on, this wasn't some washed-up MMA fighter or a retired basketball player in front of him. This is Mike Tyson, the man who shaped modern-day boxing, the dude who sent grown men into early retirement with his punches. Jake thought he could just roll in and take down a legend because he's been training for a few years and has some W's under his belt. No, you don't beat the master. Tyson is the definition of a beast in the ring. He's got that raw power and killer instinct that doesn't fade with age, and if Jake thought he could handle that, well, he just found out the hard way that you don't ever underestimate a legend. Let's talk about Tyson's greatest fights. To put this into perspective, first up, Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. This was the fight that put Tyson on the map and crowned him as the youngest heavyweight champ in history. Berbick was supposed to be this tough, experienced fighter, but Tyson destroyed him in the second round with a brutal combination that left Berbick stumbling around the ring like he'd just been hit by a truck. The man couldn't even stand properly after that KO. It was one of those moments that made everyone realize Tyson was not to be messed with. Jake, buddy, this is the kind of guy you're facing, not some influencer trying to make a name for themselves. You're up against the dude who dominated the sport when he was barely out of his teens. Then there's Tyson versus Larry Holmes. Now, Larry Holmes wasn't just any fighter, he was a legend in his own right. Holmes had only been knocked down once in his entire career before he stepped into the ring with Tyson, but Mike, he totally dismantled him in the fourth round. Tyson came in with that trademark ferocity, landing punch after punch until Holmes hit the canvas, and when Holmes got up, Tyson put him down again. That was a fight where the old guard of boxing realized that the new king had arrived. So Jake, you really thought you could go toe-to-toe with that level of fighter? And finally, let's talk about Tyson versus Michael Spinks. This was the fight that had everyone on edge. Spinks was undefeated, and people thought he might actually have a chance to beat Tyson. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Tyson knocked Spinks out in 91 seconds the first round. Why? All the man barely broke a sweat before putting Spinks to sleep. That fight alone cemented Tyson's legacy as one of the most feared men in the sport. Compare that to Jake, a YouTuber who put on gloves and started calling himself a boxer overnight. Sure, Jake's been training, and he's improved, but you can't expect to outbox a guy who has been destroying legends since the 80s.
You know it's bad when Jake Paul had to leave the gym on a gurney.
You know it's bad when Jake Paul had to leave the gym on a gurney after taking that brutal KO from Mike, the YouTuber turned boxer, was in so much pain, he couldn't even stand. Yep, Jake Paul, who usually walks around like he's untouchable, had to be wheeled out of the gym and rushed straight to the hospital. You could almost feel the shockwaves throughout the boxing world when that went down. I mean, who would have thought a simple sparring session would end with Jake looking like he just got run over by a truck? And honestly, it doesn't get more real than this. We're not talking about some minor bruise or black eye here. Jake was legit dying in pain, just shooting.
Just shooting?
Yeah.
This wasn't your normal knockout where you just get up, shake it off, and act like it's nothing. Nope, Jake was in agony. And it's clear that Tyson's punch did more than just knock him down. It seriously messed him up. Word from the hospital is that Jake has a broken rib, and the doctors are saying he's going to be out of the game for a while. Yeah, you heard that right, mister. I'm going to take over the boxing world has to sit out for a bit because Tyson broke him, not just physically, but also mentally. The whole situation has definitely gotten the best of Jake. You could see it on his face when They wheeled him out. This wasn't just another fight or sparring gone wrong. This was the kind of reality check that shakes you to your core. Jake's been riding high on his confidence, thinking he could take on legends, but Tyson reminded him real quick that this isn't some YouTube stunt. And if you thought a broken rib was as wild as it was going to get, here is where it gets worse. Jake Paul has always been that guy who drowns in his own overconfidence, right? He's constantly hyping himself up, thinking he's invincible, and that's exactly the mindset he walked into this sparring session with. But wait, the dude didn't just trash talk Tyson, he made bets. And I'm not talking about any small time I'll buy you dinner if I lose type of bet. No, Jake went all out. He placed some seriously big money on the line, betting he could take Tyson down in this sparring session. Like, can you imagine the level of overconfidence you need to bet against Mike freaking Tyson? That's peak Jake Paul right there.
A little teary-eyed. But yeah, and then I wake up the next day and like have a phone call like with my lawyers for,
and surprise, surprise, he lost not just the sparring match, but also a huge chunk of his wealth. Yeah, you heard that right. This guy's bank account just took a massive hit because of his bragging issues. He put so much on the line thinking he was going to be the one to take Tyson down, but instead he's walking away with nothing but a bruised ego, a busted rib, and an empty wallet. And now Jake's all in tears about it because of course he's refusing to pay up the mans in lawsuits right now because of these bets. Instead of owning up to it like a champ, Jake's making all sorts of excuses, saying that the bet wasn't for real because it was just sparring. But here's the thing, the bet was about the sparring. Tyson didn't step into that ring for an exhibition. He was there to show Jake exactly what's up, and Jake lost fair and square. Now he's trying to backtrack, saying this wasn't the real fight, like somehow that's going to make the embarrassment go away. But the truth is Jake was running his mouth thick. He could hang with a living legend, and now he's got to face the consequences. And trust me, those consequences are huge. The lawsuits alone could wipe out more than just a chunk of Jake's wealth. We're talking about the kind of hit that leaves you hurting, not just financially, but emotionally too. Let's be real. Jake's entire image is built on being that loud, confident guy who can back it up in the ring. He's got fan sponsorships and this whole influencer turned boxer persona that's made him rich and famous. But this is a serious blow. You can't talk all that smack, bet a ton of money, and then back out when things don't go your way. Now Jake's trying to save face, but it's not working. No one's buying the excuse that it was just sparring, or not. You made the bet, Jake, and now you've got to deal with the consequences. This whole incident has definitely thrown a big wrench into the fight plans. Jake and Mike were supposed to meet for the highly anticipated Clash of the Year on November 15th, 2024 at the At-T Arena, but with Jake's broken rib and the cases piling up from his ridiculous bets, the fight might seriously be in jeopardy. Everyone was hyped for this showdown, YouTube fans, boxing experts, and even casual sports watchers. But now things are looking shaky. Jake's going to need time to heal up, and who knows how long that'll take. Plus, with all these legal issues coming at him from every direction, it's unclear whether he'll even be able to focus on training. It's wild how one sparring session flipped the script entirely. If the fight gets postponed, rescheduled, or even canceled, it's going to be a huge blow for fans who've been hyped for this showdown. I guess we'll just have so hold our breath on it. So there you have it, Fight World. That's all I have for you today. What are your thoughts on Jake Paul's world collapsing after what Mike did? Make sure to fill the comment section with your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more boxing news. See you in the next video.